Hey, hey, welcome back. All right, so here we go, Geminis. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. I know I sound like a broken record, but as you know, I've had tremendous issues. I've moved to a new location, and that was a bunch of problems getting the internet set up. It seems like we're getting through problems every time we do more work on it, but there have been a lot of techs helping me. And anyway, so I think we're in a lot better place. But if we still have some bumps, I won't be surprised. So thanks for hanging in there. And my other message to you guys is just FYI, I'm bringing back something that I used to do on the channel. So we'll have a weekly winner where I'll do a storytelling for someone as a weekly winner. That will happen over on the series that I put out every day that is called our Today's Topic video. You'll definitely want to watch the video for October the 10th. That is where I explain it to you right in the very beginning. It's nice and easy. And I think that's all I need to mention. All right, so let's get into this. We are starting out with the King of Swords. There's our Gemini right now, unless Gemini is moving and working with a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. We have a Seven of Swords. We have an Ace of Pentacles. Seven of Swords is lying. Somebody is lying either about giving another person a do-over, or they're still hiding something so that they can have a do-over. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I feel like with my Gemini videos, I feel like we get some of the most intriguing and sometimes most complicated stories. I don't really know why that is, but I always find myself like, oh, so fascinating with my Gemini stories. We've got the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. Okay, so I am a little inclined to say, guys, I don't know why I don't feel like the King of Swords is Gemini. I'm sorry, there, I said it. I feel like somebody has these hopes, wishes, and dreams. And I will say all over the place, what we have is somebody who's got dragon tattoos all over them. Then snaked around the raven, the messenger, we have a serpent. It's like somebody is saying, I know I should tell the truth, but it's going to ruin my chance at having this happily ever after, this dream that I have. I want a new beginning. So I don't really want to tell Gemini everything because, and here again is the serpent, like, I just don't want to say anything and have it ruin my outcome. We keep seeing things loop around, snake around, but I'm picturing it almost like, I don't know if somebody smokes. This is so weird. So I'm an asthmatic, so you know I do not smoke. Never have. I've never even held a cigarette before. I smoke nothing. Never have. Never can. And so it's weird for me to picture not like serpents and dragons, but like this curl of like smoke. But it's almost like, and like with sci-fi movies or horror movies or something, it's like this little curling, like, you shouldn't do this, but I can't help it. Or like in cartoons, like Mickey Mouse cartoons or something. There's something like wrapping around this person saying, I know I shouldn't, but I just really want this. It's almost like they're, instead of having the self-control to say, let me be honorable and straightforward, I'm going to pretend I'm honorable and straightforward because I really want this new beginning. My messenger tells me, make sure that I give Gemini all the info, but I don't want to. I want this to be mine right now during Year of the Snake. I want to claim like everything is possible right now, even though this is going to take more time, whatever it is in their life. Like maybe, and I'm going to suggest this has something to do with money just because we have the emerald here. We also have like this kind of like green tummy on our cow. Is it possible that somebody actually does not have access to all of their money right now? Or this King of Swords is like saying that they're, oh yeah, I can do this. Maybe they're not 100% single. Maybe they still owe somebody a chunk of cash or something as, in a settlement or something, but they're not being honest about that because they don't want to lose Gemini right now. Even though in truth, it would take much more time. This is slow moving with the Knight of Pentacles. This is our slowest moving knight, but they're like, but I want this now with that Page of Wands. I don't want to miss my chance. So I definitely feel like somebody is lying. Now, sure, this could be Gemini who's like, let's say somebody is saying, oh yeah, I can definitely, make this happen. And it's like, okay, I don't actually have the credentials, but I can hurry up and maybe go get a certification because I want to get this job. It could be somebody not being 100% honest about what their competency is. We've got a 9 of Pentacles upright. We have a 3 of Wands sideways. It's a little bit like this is somebody who's leaping and saying, I will sprout wings on the way down. I will say this though, sometimes when we see an opportunity and we're like, I know I'm not ready for it, but I'm not about to let it slip through my fingers. So somehow, some way, there, for the grace of God, I know this has to work because this has to be mine. Honestly, this storyline says we have a character saying it will have to work. And they actually seem like they are reaching deep within their soul and finding the way to make this happen. By the way, I'm sorry, I do have a boo-boo on my finger. I'm sorry, I didn't know it looked so ugly on camera. It doesn't hurt, it's just I whacked it. So my apologies if I have ugly hands tonight. This is somebody who's actually, instead of being like, oh God, what have I done? They're doubling down saying, I'll negotiate. Even if what I said isn't 100% true, I don't care. I'm not losing this opportunity. And somehow they are either convincing themselves this is supposed to be mine, therefore it will work. Even if I have to fudge the dates, the details, even if there's something that I have to do to make this all work, I don't care. I'll make it all work. That 3 of Wands being here says, I need this. I don't want to let this wait for the next 3 months. I need it. Everything is about, I still have to have this during Year of the Snake. And we have snakes all over here. By the way, again, green eye. So we could have greed. We could have lusty energy. This could be money energy. My thought, because this is almost like a Kundalini awakening or something, or a chakra alignment. I'm thinking somebody decided to tell, not a whopper of a lie exactly. They said that they can create something, make something happen, or be available because they were like, I'll be damned if I'm missing out on this. This is the best thing I ever came across, and I'm not going to let this go. I will move heaven and earth to be able to make this work. I don't think this person is necessarily all talk, no action, not with that 9 of Pentacles. We got the Tower. Talk about moving heaven and earth. Okay, the only problem is, remember, their guide said, you really need to tell the truth on this. And they were like, not until I get what I want. And then I'll renegotiate with that 3 of Wands sideways. That might not work out so good though. Even if we can see how badly they want this. And I'm going to say this person wants a Gemini. That's what I'm going to say. I think we got a King of Swords who feels like they are a great match for Gemini. Even if right now I shouldn't say that I can be a great match. I'm not going to let this chance slip by, and I'll explain the details of the reality of my situation after I kind of like either get Gemini to fall for me, or after I get Gemini's lips on mine. Maybe I can make them fall for me, with a good kiss. It just feels, again, with that Princess of Wands, this is very lust-based. It does feel like somebody is determined that they must have Gemini. Or Gemini must have someone, could be Gemini doing this. Can we just see who is Gemini in all of this? Or who's a Gemini to the King of Swords? The Fool, the person that they will take this leap toward, even if they shouldn't, even if it's a foolish move. Gemini is the person that they're just like, there's no way that this is so aligned and I met them at this moment in time if they're not meant to be mine. So I have to do this no matter what. Okay, we could still say this person is being foolish, being even immature, or not being very, honorable, perhaps, as far as like not telling the truth. What is the truth that you're holding back, that your guides keep saying you need to tell the full story, the whole story, nothing but the story? It's about timing. We have the Hanged Man. This person is like, I am telling the story. I love and want to pursue things with Gemini. Cupid's arrow hit my heart. But in truth, I know that just because Cupid's arrow hit my heart, I'm still busy over here sacrificing. I made other promises to like a whole nother group, or I made promises to a family, or there's stuff that I have to do elsewhere. But I love Gemini. I want to say yes to Gemini. I want to pursue Gemini. But I shouldn't. I should wait. Why? What's the Hanged Man? Here we go back to the Seven of Swords. So it's definitely, this person could be slipping out a little bit out of, some other environment in order to come toward Gemini. Please remember, these are fictional stories about fictional characters, right? This is not a situation where it's like, oh, somebody that I know in my real life is lying to me and they have some other, they're living with somebody else. Like, please know that's not, these are fictional stories. In this, we look at how characters are handling things and then we go, okay, so what could they have done different, better? How do we see these characters' actions? And we do see them trying to still get away with being able to make a move toward Gemini before they truly should. And they know this. And that's why it's a lie, because they know better. Let me just ask, why would you not just tell Gemini, like, hey, I really want to pursue you, but because they're afraid Gemini would turn on their heel and bounce on out. Five of Pentacles. I'd lose out on Gemini. But do you think not telling Gemini the full story is going to be better? 10 of Swords. They'll deal with that when they have to. They think maybe it's like, either if Gemini decides that they don't want me, I still have lost Gemini, so I'll risk it because I would have lost Gemini anyway if I had told them, hey, will you wait for me? But also this is them saying no, because I'm working really hard to end the thing I have to end. See, I think that they are thinking that they can wrap things up fairly swiftly or pretty swiftly before they have to come clean. So are you with somebody else, or do you owe something to somebody else? Wheel of Fortune, again, sideways. Look, this could just be like the court documents have been filed, but the payments haven't been fully paid off to an ex yet. It could just be one more quarter before they're out from underneath some kind of debt. Everything seemed like it was about money to me, just because of the emeralds again and again. I really still don't get why they wouldn't have just told Gemini the full story about where they were at with things, why they were so convinced that Gemini wouldn't want to wait for them or wouldn't understand their scenario. But this just says, once again, they're very close to having things wrapped up, but admittedly, it's not wrapped up yet. So they really shouldn't be moving toward Gemini. Can we just see on Gemini's side, does Gemini have any inkling about all this? Because my guess is that Gemini is probably not going to be oblivious to this. We have Eight of Pentacles. We have Queen of Swords. Of course not. Of course, Gemini is going to be putting pieces together. You can't pull the wool over Gemini's eyes. It's so crazy because at the very beginning, I was like, I should say this is Gemini, but it just doesn't feel like it is. And now, sure enough, it's not. Here's Gemini sitting in their, Gemini energy. But if anything, Gemini is possibly, working on the conundrum of like, something doesn't quite add up. There's something here. You notice how the guide is flying in to give Gemini some kind of an answer. And it's like, I've been kind of piecing this together. They're not really giving me a 10 of Pentacles vibe. Emperor, King of Swords, Knight of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so as Gemini, because they don't have all the facts, right? In this story, they don't have the facts, but what they do have is the ability to say, how is somebody trying to behave toward me? Do they come across as a player? No. Hands down, they are not a player. And nowhere in this did we see player mentality. We did see somebody that was not being honest. But we had somebody who has honest intentions, even if, meaning they're not trying to be like, ooh, I just want to like run game and have Gemini and have somebody else. That's not what their goal is. What it was is they weren't going to let this opportunity with this amazing Gemini slip through their fingers because of what they considered to be just a bit of a timing issue. That's why they were like, I'm not even going to bring everything up. Because on paper, I know it doesn't work. On paper, I know I shouldn't be pursuing Gemini yet, but I'll be damned if I'm going to let him walk out of my life. And I just think that as Gemini counts this stuff up, Gemini's like, they're not being a player. I can sense that. In fact, I think this person has high integrity to a certain extent. They have, when it comes to me, they have shown me genuine interest, and I don't see them waffling in that. But see, two things can be true at once. Somebody can say, I am absolutely dedicated. I want to be with you. You are the person for me. And those words can be true. But then in the footnotes, it can be like, but I'm not able to give you everything that I intend to in this moment because I still have, 2.5 months of payments I have to make elsewhere. But I am going to do this. It just feels like they're in this place where it's like there has been like this real truth that has come through. Two of Wands. I think Gemini is reading them like a book. I can tell they mean it when it comes to me. And I can also tell they're kind of trying to figure out what to say, how to handle things, what to do here. I can see it. I can feel it. I know that that's where they're at. Okay, so Gemini is not wrong about any of this. Gemini knows there's something they haven't told me and they're debating all the time, or there's something that holds them back, even though I know it's not their emotions from me. I would say Gemini is spot on with all of that from what we've seen in this story. Page of Swords. Yes, Gemini is still trying to figure it out. But I also think Gemini is saying, I think they're still trying to figure it out. Maybe they're trying to gauge my reaction, or maybe they're still trying to figure out what to do next, even though I don't think it has anything to do with their emotions toward me. With the Six of Cups, I have to say, in this story, and please forgive me for this, I think Gemini and this person are like peas in a pod. I know this, why would we ever be okay with a story where there's like, 2 Seven of Swords in it? This person is lying. This person is lying. Yes, but not all lies are exactly the same. However, I will say this, that Gemini and this King of Swords are so similar that I believe Gemini, at least in this story, this particular character, would have done something similar had they been in the King of Swords' shoes. If they were like, look, I am done with everything but the monetary thing. No, I don't want to tell somebody, well, see, it's complicated. I'm still dealing with an ex, because then it sounds like I'm still dealing with an ex when I'm not. I'm already moving forward and I met somebody who's wonderful, but I'm going to scare them off or I'm going to run them off. And honestly, that is over. It's a Ten of Swords thing in my heart, in my mind, in my spirit, but maybe not in in the bank account or something. And so I'm not going to lose out on my chance with somebody wonderful who I genuinely care about because of a timing issue. Now, I'm not saying I'm not condoning it. I'm not condemning it. It is what it is. But in this story, because of this last card, it kind of says Gemini is wise to what's going on, but there's a part of them that's like, honestly, I don't care, because I can tell this person has sincere intentions toward me. And I don't always tell everybody everything either. I am honest about what my intentions are with somebody, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily tell them the mess that's behind the scene. But if I wanted somebody, I too would be pursuing them, and I too would let them know I'm pursuing you. This is what I want. So I just think in this one scenario, Gemini is not being like, ooh, what's wrong? I know something's off. My spidey senses are off. They're saying, I can already tell there is something here that actually we're probably very similar in. All right, so I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.